Hello guys, so yeah, I'm back from my trip. Parked at the airport. Now I could pretty much pick up the car and continue the trip back home. The trip is meant to last for about an hour and 19 minutes. And I hope that the route is also pretty clear tonight. It looks all green through, so that's a good thing. Okay, so payment is clear. And right out of the gate, I will be activating XNGP. Let's see how it takes us or it treats us. So we activated. First lane change. Second lane change. We are still within the airport perimeter, so it is all looking a bit under construction. The road is not very smooth. We've got about 255 km of battery range left, and the trip is projecting that we would arrive around 12:15 midnight. The time now is 10:50 midnight or 10:50 in the evening. It's also projected that we would arrive with 121 by way of range left on the battery. I do have the chance to be able to do some charging on the road, but given that tomorrow is a working day and I'm also tired, I'm sort of trying to weigh the odds as in whether I should just head out home and then try to do the charging tomorrow. Okay, that guy was cutting in there. The car automatically slowed down and then also try to do some sort of evasive maneuvering by sort of veering to the left. So 2 nights parking cost me around 205 yuan, which is quite steep. But if I had decided to get a taxi or a DD to take me home, it would perhaps cost me about that and more. And so it is sort of worth it just to leave the car at the airport for those 2 nights, which saves me about 400 yuan in total cost, excluding the amount that I need to charge the car. So give and take, if I had 100 RMB for charging the car to and fro, that saves me about 300 yuan altogether, which is not bad. So I think it's worth it, for those short trips to leave the car at the airport rather than to take a DD in and out. So that there's some savings over there. Yeah, my trip was altogether about 13 hours flying. So it's quite a strenuous trip, going back home and coming back. Altogether flying 26 hours in a span of 48 hours. So I'm pretty worn out, and so I decided to take the fastest route, which would give us a coverage of about 115 km using the highway. And again, we are on a journey to try to see how many disengagement we need to do. So hopefully from here all the way to my neighborhood, there will be 0 disengagement. Well, this is the first disengagement because I need to take this route not that way. And the car couldn't make that determination in time. So I had to take over. I'm supposed to be having ETC, so I'm not too sure why I came here. Okay, there you go. So we've got a clearance. All right, so that was one disengagement to be able to take the right route. Or the toll gate was split, so I needed to disengage. The car could not make the right determination. Now we're back with full NGP service. Let's see. This stretch of the route is going to take us 51 km without any sort of exit or entry. So we are hitting 51 km on this stretch. Let's see how the car performs. And again, just to hint folks, this is the return trip from Guangzhou to Shenzhen after I returned back from my trip overseas. It's also a good time of the night because there's no traffic, and being a Sunday, the road is also quite empty altogether. And this is where NGP, thrives and excels absolutely, splendidly. It's able to effectively deliver that, confidence without any sort of transferred, um, inertia with regards to some of the decisions it needs to make. So when the road conditions are really good, XNGP on the highway is always like a great experience compared to when it's a busy road and you've got a lot of cars that are actually, using the highway, making lane changes and occupying all lanes, then of course it is a little bit more tricky. Our speed is 113 km, 115 km per hour. We are within the speed limit of 120. The car in front of us, I think, is already maxing out at 120. And so the decisions to make any sort of lane changes really do not apply. The conditions have not been met. So in that case, the car can stick to this particular lane, which is actually the fastest lane of the three, all through the journey. This is really not a challenging, drive. So I will try to speed through the video most of the time, just so that you guys can experience the actual decisions on the road. If I do disengage, I will slow down the video and then of course talk through the disengagement. But I'm actually expecting very minimal disengagement, except of course when we get to a toll gate and the car cannot make a decision in time to enable us navigate the toll gate smoothly. But so far, based on past experience, it's able to clear most of the road without any sort of disengagement, except when we get into toll gates. So let's see, because again, this is the version 5.3.0, 8908. So there could be a certain level of optimization that could perhaps have degraded some of the other capabilities that was doing well before. So let's just hope that nothing of that sort exists now, and hopefully, sail through the trip smoothly. It's maintaining a consistent 120, which is now enabling it to overtake this van or MPV, and it's doing so quite confidently. As I said, this is where XNGP excels, but again, this is the same, scenario that LCC would equally excel pretty much. So there is no challenge or there is no novelty by way of performance that one would see in this particular drive. Also, shadow occlusion is pretty good. So there are no phantom deceleration, especially when you get to a shadow zone. At least yet, not yet. So let's hope that that remains the same all the way through. Actually, there's supposed to be a fast charging spot right around here. It is also run by Xpeng, which I could use. think that's it. We could try that. So we've switched to let it take us to that particular charging spot, which is about 3.2 kilometers. It's also on our route. I just want to feel a little bit safe, even though I arrive home with a projected 140 kilometers on range. I just would like to make sure that at least I'm not depleting the battery so low. So it's better I do the charge. It will take me about maybe 45 minutes to soup up the charge. Again, I'll leave the camera running so you guys could actually see the S4 charging experience. If indeed it's an S4 station, hopefully. If it's not and it's an S3, then we're not going to get a full voltage pump and wattage at the same time as we would when we use the S4. So S3 is slower. So let's see what happens. If it were me, I would have definitely overtaken this car before slowing down because there's still room for me to have been able to use to get onto the exit. But given that the car has been programmed to stick to that rule of thumb, which is 1.2 kilometers before an exit, it has to essentially begin to make that negotiation to the exit. I wouldn't fault it. So now I'm on 39%, and my rate of utilization is 18.3 kilowatt hour for every 100 kilometers. This suburb is actually called the Knowledge City. And the place I'll be charging is actually one of the manufacturing hubs of Xpeng. I suspect that I'll need to disengage because it's already not showing a good sign that it's going to slow down. Yeah, I need to disengage there. Okay. Okay, well, it recognized that with the digital overlay of the ETC, I was going too fast for comfort. Well, XNGP has not kicked in. We are still in LCC. So I'm doubting that it's okay. Well, we got our XNGP on now. So we've had 2 disengagements so far. Both of them were at the toll gate. And that means that Xpeng needs to do a lot more work to really give us a smooth and safe experience when navigating through toll gates. Recognition of the toll gate at least seems to be okay, because you can see that the car would overlay the fact that there is a recognition of a toll section, but it's not able to do the right. Okay, so now it's stuck in a bit of a rut because it went on a route that it shouldn't, and as a result we are on a lane that's supposed to go straight but cannot go straight because it needs to do that turn. So perception of the intersection wasn't the best. Let's see if it recognizes the green light. Okay, it's not. Because it's on the wrong route, it's not able to effectively execute the decision to turn left. So I had to urge it with foot on the pedal. It's a completely new area, completely newly built industrial zone, where I think Xpeng also decided to site its one of its manufacturing hubs, and I think this is the hub that's supposed to be manufacturing the X9. At these times of the night, it's quite tricky because you get all these guys that are using these cycles and would normally occupy multiple lanes, or will be driving left, right, center, in a very fast and dangerous way. Sometimes they are drunk, so it almost is a very tricky thing to ensure that you don't get into their way. all this is not challenging at all, because you've got an empty route, you've got traffic lights that are almost green through and through, well demarcated road, good lane markings. So this is really not a challenge at all for XNGP, and as a result, it's almost a trivial play. Uh, as it basically navigates through the route. Where it fails to do so, then you've got a big problem, because then its recognition system is not able to effectively support it navigating around um, simple routes like these. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty much a very easy journey, and we would need to do a U-turn somewhere right after this section. Let's see if it's able to plan that. Okay. This will be the first time I'm going to let the car completely try to do the U-turn. Okay. Okay. That was scary. Now let's see if the car can do the U-turn. This is a completely empty road, and this is the U-turn experience. It's completely disappointing. The car is stuck. Really, the car is stuck. Unless I urge it on by pressing the accelerator, which I'm going to do now. Okay. The car would have been stuck. And I hope it's not gonna, it's not gonna, okay. Yeah, those are some X9s being loaded from the factory. This is really where the X9s are manufactured. Okay, where are you going? See if it could do that smoothly. Okay, it disengaged, so I need to miss the route. Alrighty. So this is the zone. Let's see if we could get a quick charge.
Night mode is active. Enjoy the drive. Headlights have been turned off.
So estimated time of completing the charge is 24 minutes. Currently, we're doing about 630 volt at 248 ampere. And we're going to charge until 90%. And I'm going to let it run so folks can actually also experience how long it takes to charge the car from currently, having 39% range until we hit 90% range, and how much more we do add on.
Night mode is active. Enjoy the drive.
准备出发，全程76公里，大约需要1小时24分，预计凌晨1点20分到达。你已偏航，150米后右转。请走最右侧车道，150米后在红绿灯路口右转。你已偏航，右转，随后在下个红绿灯路口右转。
Okay, so let's see. We activate. Well, this truck is stopped, so you cannot go behind it. Let's see if it's able to navigate around that. Okay. Sort of worked.
Climatize interior temperature.
We are already in NGP mode. And yeah, the projected time of arrival is around 1:21 a.m. That's because I've also optimized the route in order not to pay for some tolls. So it should take us through a bit of city routes, which means that we should have a bit more challenge to this section of the road than would be if I had chosen completely a highway-based trip. So hopefully you guys can enjoy this better. than the Boring Highway high speed, which is without any sort of challenge at all. I hope there is some sort of challenge anyway on this section of the route. In about 2.2 km, we will make I think an entry into the highway where we can actually see or experience a bit more of XNGP in a much more challenging situation. We are projected to arrive with 394 km on range, which means that we would have used about 80 km to pretty much for 74 km on the road actual distance. So that's a bit more than would be normal. But the power utilization of this car is quite high. And as I showed you earlier on, if I do that, you will see that it's about 17.9 kilowatt hour for every 100 km, at least based on current reading. The speed rating for this road is 60. The car is currently doing about 55. And I think it's 55 because it's night. So it sets itself a limit of 55 rather than hitting the full 60. It's quite unexplainable why it should there should be policy for night drive where it defaults to reduced speed limit. I'm going to set the speed limit to max out the night policy. Hopefully that does not mess up its perception capability. You know, one of the things that we always need to be careful about when, when taking trips with projected power utilization, especially for electric cars, is the, you cannot rely 100% on the projected time or the projected power utilization because traffic conditions could change anytime on the road. And so if you've got an opportunity to charge and you fail to use that opportunity to charge, it is possible you could get yourself into a very tricky state. So anytime you have the chance to be able to get additional power, you go for it. And that's what I did there. I saw the potential that, we could, add on or top up the power. I took that opportunity, did that top up. And now I can confidently at least, take the journey without having to sort of be staring at the range almost every now and then because I'm scared it would perhaps be not enough because maybe we could meet a traffic situation on the highway that we might end up having to slow down. I'm running the air conditioning as well. So with all that, in check, it's sort of like best for me to play the safe, the safe approach, do the top up, and then use that to sort of confidently complete the rest of the journey. Okay, the road speed limit is still 60. A lot of the cars around me are not happy that I am keeping to that limit. After that intersection or after that fork, I will perhaps increase the speed, or maybe we would actually be in a zone where we could actually, oh well, this is a 30 limit. Let's see if we could sail through that safely. It's 30, but it's able to keep up with, I tried to set it to do 60, so it's able to max out that 30, and it's doing about 43 kilometers per hour, which is better than it doing 30. NGP has backed out. It's back in. Had to disengage there because there was something on the road. It's back in. That side of the road is not very smooth, so I'm happy that it changed lane to the middle lane. we've got quite a number of traffic lights on this route. And that is the disadvantage of having to use city roads. The other advantage that I get from it is that I don't need to pay for highway. I already paid about 205 renminbi for airport parking, and then I had to pay about 50 for that little stretch that we did, which was about also 50 km. The total projected would have been around 75 or 80, given that I'm not going home with any need to, be home in a certain time frame. I'm not, it's not urgent. I don't have any priorities at home except, of course, to go and get some rest. I thought better to save that little, that little that little bit, but it's not really much anyway. It is back to the night policy again. So on this stretch, it's the speed limit here is 60, but it's defaulted back to night drive, which is 55. I'm going to again max it out. There are about quite a number of traffic lights. Will it cross? I had to stop it in order not to let it cross. Yeah, so that's another disengagement. Traffic light prediction is also not very good. I've complained about that already. And now it's standing on the zebra. It's actually stopped on the zebra crossing, which is not really a good thing. Okay, so I'm gonna activate it again now. Okay. Quite a tricky road. All right, it sort of perceived that, but that was tricky. Okay, I had to sort of disengage because it was pretty tricky. That curb was quite close. So let's wait for it to activate again. Okay. It's gone back to the policy limit of 55. I will max out again to override that policy so we could do the full 60. I hope we can do away with all these traffic lights anytime soon. Quite a number of traffic lights, and this is the disadvantage of using the city route. It could have done that change of lane, but it didn't. I don't understand why. Okay. Okay. Careful there. Those trucks might not easily see a car this small. Okay. Careful there. Careful there. Well, we've got a choice of being able to get out of this traffic pandemic. So that has been done. I have changed the route so that it could defer to a different route altogether. The other reason why I did so was that it indicated that there was a construction on the route I had already selected. So for that purpose, I wanted to get out of this route and use a different road altogether. That would take us to the G35. So it's already indicating that in about 170 meters, NGP will be turned off, or there will be no NGP coverage. Let's see how that goes. Will it be able to determine which of the... Okay, it couldn't, so I need to take over another disengagement. All right.
请走左侧车道，100米后靠左行驶，靠左行驶，往惠州河源方向。
Okay. NGP is back on. Speed limit for this stretch is 80 km per hour. So hopefully that gives us a bit of an oomph to quickly run through this track. This stretch is going to take us 19.5 km highway. So we should be able to quickly wrap up this this journey. Well, we have an update. The journey now gives us 120 km per hour on this part of the stretch. It should be planning to do a change of lane at least, because I'm seeing the truck ahead. So okay, now it has perceived the truck. There is another truck ahead. It should perceive it and then be able to do a lane change. We are not maxing out the speed limit yet. Again, because of the night policy, it's limiting it to 110 km per hour rather than 120. I'm going to override it and have it max out the full speed limit. And that's it, 120 set. So we can max it out completely. There's a rest stop 1.8 km ahead, but I don't need to use a rest stop. So to just forget it for this section. Maybe in another one, I might want to use a rest stop. I see an obstruction in front of us, or is it a truck? It's an obstruction, or is it a truck? Oh, okay, it's a signboard. In about 5.8 kilometers, we would need to switch highways, and I think that will take us to G94. Okay, so it's going to start to make a plan to get us to the exit truck. So anytime from here, yeah, it's going to do that. Too early because this truck is pretty much too slow. So I'm going to tell it to go back to the middle lane so that we can overtake this car. Okay, I need to urge it on to move faster. So I'm now accelerating myself, and then of course it can then overtake the car. Okay, so you know, these I already talked about, you know, this kind of problem where the car starts the exit planning too early, which is not exactly conducive all the time, right? So in that case, I would have been stuck behind that car, you know, that truck at a very low speed, you know, for a little bit more time before getting to this exit. And yet there was enough, you know, there was enough opportunity ahead to do that. So I decided to override it, not completely with, you know, with disengagement, but with actually just adding some, you know, trying to pedal it to move faster. Now I see that. Okay, so this is G94, and that's G94 that takes us all the way to Shenzhen. I think that's a 41-kilometer stretch. All right. So yeah, we couldn't maintain the city drive. The too many traffic lights. There was a construction projected ahead on that particular city road, and also the fact that, you know, that road itself was not exactly very smooth, was a bit of a concern. So needed to reroute. So we changed the route to get us back on a highway, and so far so good. Except of course at the toll gate, we still had the same problem of being able to perceive and then plan on time. So that wasn't so smooth, or that didn't go well. So we needed to take over and go through the toll booth manually, and then right after we engaged it, and so far so good. Speed limit is 120. It's already maxing that out. So that's good. Is it going to slow down? Okay, and then double traffic data warning the car behind me that he was basically decelerating pretty fast. Okay, so that was good. Well, I saw that coming. It saw it a bit late, but you've got to appreciate the the time lag between perception and planning. It's always a problem. So, but that was okay. If it was if it didn't detect it at all, then that's certainly going to be a calamity. Another way I would have implemented that would be that, it's 3 lanes. The guy was moving from the outer lane into the middle lane. So I would have quickly, perceived it and then planned a route to change lane to the inner lane, right? And that would certainly have improved the experience there, and not need to slam the brakes and hazard at the same time, since there was no occupant behind me on that particular inner lane. That would have been perhaps the most prudent and safe evasive maneuvering, rather than wait and then slam the brakes right in the middle of the highway just to slow down. So from a planning point of view, the policy that is used is not very it's effective but not efficient, because it could have executed a completely different model, which would have meant that we don't need to lose speed drastically or create heat just by braking, but rather slide into the inner lane, avoid that truck that was basically taking the middle lane, and then at least retain as much as possible the same momentum that we had. But this is currently the the capability, so we perhaps just need to work within that limit. Okay, so I see something quite interesting. The speed limit is supposed to be 100, but the car is effectively doing 120, which is quite strange because well, everyone else is doing about 120 anyway. So I don't know why the speed limit on this section is 100. Unless, of course, maybe it's been updated. Maybe it's updated recently, or maybe the update is not exactly right. Okay, so that for me is good. You know, you perceive the car early, and plan your route almost instantly, so you don't need to slow down to do a lane change. Now let's see if it does the same thing here. It wants to overtake into the lane that, you know, the BMW is occupying, which unfortunately is bad planning, because it could have basically, you know, gone out to the outer lane and then overtaking this car in front of us. So planning there was not, you know, well done. It didn't use all. Okay, now it's doing that, which is too late. Okay, I think we are coming on a merger. So the decision to switch lane to the middle lane is a good one. Also, given that it's a corner, I would also use the middle lane. All right, let's see what it does here. Has he perceived? No, so he just perceived the truck. Now planning to do a lane change, but decelerates very hard, and it cannot switch to the inner lane because that's a continuous line. So the only option now is to stay with this car until it clears this section of the highway where everything. Okay, so now it's got a chance. Quickly, it's maxed out the speed limit. We've got a bit of rain drizzle, so somehow we should get the wiper triggering on automatically. Can it perceive the car trying? Okay. Still maxed out the full speed. We're back to dry road. Still maxed out the 120 on a 120 km stretch. We got about 14 more km to go for this section of the highway. And power utilization is about 19.3 kilowatt hour per 100 km. Confirm that. Okay. Now I can see those cars, but the car's not picked them up yet. Okay, until now. So perception distance is quite limited. That needs to be improved. And once that kind of, when the perception is good enough to be able to pick up on, object far away or cars far away, then it can have a good planning way ahead of those cars. So currently it's not able to, for instance, this car in front of us is not picked up the car yet until now, which is about 150 meters tops that it's using for planning. So as a result, you get some of those harsh, deceleration, acceleration, and braking actions, which can be smoothed out if it's using a bit more of a longer distance object detection planning. Okay, for a human eye, I can see right in front of me there that there is a truck, and I think from a camera point of view, we all can see the truck, yeah, right? But that has not been factored into the car's perception window yet. And so the capability to make decisions way ahead, in preparation for execution, is not effective yet. It's using a very short distance, and now it can see that truck, right? And the next truck after that, and now the other truck. So it's just about 150 meters max, which I think can be improved so that it can see further away. It can identify and perceive objects further away, and be able to plan with those objects in context. I can see that truck. It's not yet seen it, right? Hopefully now. Okay, so now it sees it. I can see at least 6-7 cars right in front of me, but there is no idea of that in the current planning or visibility of the car. So there's no projection of that on the screen, except of course for now, where it's picked up this particular car in front of us, in the middle lane. And then maybe we need to get to that car before it can pick up the other car in front of us, right? Yeah. So the perception distance and is pretty poor. I think for me, when the car is actually having to be at 120 kilo, its perception distance should not be limited to 150 anymore. It should be pretty much using about 300 meters ahead data for context, so that it can really begin to maneuver like a human being, right? You can 300 meters ahead of you, you've seen what is there, you're tracking all the routes, and therefore you can plan pretty well, ahead of time. Okay, seems that we need to make an exit in 500 meters. Indication that in 140 meters, NGP would basically be off, which means LCC is going to take over now. LCC has taken over. And I guess LCC will be used to negotiate this whole exit. Since it's a single track, there is no, option to sort of have multiple lanes. Yeah, you could, you could avoid disengagement by implementing LCC to take over. But that means that you have a good sense of the road network, and you've pretty much embedded this as part of the policy within the system. Now, would it slow down? Has it detected? Okay, it's not. Okay, finally, it did. Okay, but it was pretty slow, and then it had to suddenly brake. Quite a jarring experience there. Okay.
往松山湖管委会 X241方向。
XNGP is back. And it needs to negotiate a turn left. So that experience at the toll gate wasn't exactly very refined. It was too robotic, for lack of a better expression for that. It was too robotic, and I hope that can be also improved. Okay. For the green light. Let's see if we could. All right. It's signaling it wants to go left, but it could have gone straight. This patch of the road is always, very tricky for the car to navigate. I think I reported in one of my videos before that this erratic behavior was sometimes causing issues, especially when the road was busy. And we saw that now. Even with this, this road being less busy at this time of the night, which is about 1 a.m., that kind of action was not exactly very smooth. But we are going to come up to the last key trick, ability to do a U-turn. We already saw in this same video, when I had to do the U-turn at that, when we're going to try to get a charge, it failed to actually be able to complete the U-turn. It got stuck right at the U. So let's see if it's able to negotiate this U-turn safely. This is even much more riskier because this is a highway. That was a secluded, road. So we could wait for it to take its time to do it, but it couldn't. fortunately, it's not also a busy, time of the night, so we can equally say that, okay, we should do that. Okay. It is stuck. Okay, perhaps waiting to see if it can observe some car before it goes ahead. Well, it's finally able to do it, but you'll agree with me that this wasn't a smooth experience for a U-turn. Um, it's technically not an optimal U-turn experience in most of the time that I've used it. So it's you can say that, yeah, it's got the gimmick, but the gimmick is not yet, friendly for actual road use. So you need to babysit it absolutely with 100% attention all the time. Well, so thank you very much. That was it. This brings us to the end of the drive. And I'm hoping that I could wrap this video and then share it with the rest of the team or rest of you pretty soon. Thank you very much. And see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.
请你贴好，150米后右，请你贴好。